you. Hadrit House. Down here. Oh, what's this? As you near the apparition, you are overcome suddenly by a powerful anxiety that sits like a stone in your stomach. The feeling is not quite real. The recollection of an emotion rather than the emotion itself. It wrenches your insides nevertheless. The apparition's brow is tense, a look of concern playing across its face. The other
missionaries say you have been neglectful of your duties.
They lie.
They speak out of concern for you. Now tell me, is there something to their concerns?
The pain in your stomach deepens, and you feel for a moment as though you are about to be sick. Your mouth has gone dry. Forgive me, Eminence, I wish to leave the order. The man folds his fingers together and presses them to his mouth, thoughtful.
You have been an apt student, and your convictions have inspired those around you. May I ask what has changed to make you feel this way?
People we intend to convert, they committed unspeakable acts, sacrifices, and mutilations. The apparition exhales slowly, and its lips press together, a sympathetic report in its eyes. It places its hand on your shoulder.
These are the ways of the heathen world.
Surely the gods would do better to destroy us all and start anew.
Perhaps they would. It may come to that one day. This is why we must not fail. The heathens are beyond the gods' reach. They do not know better. We are tasked with delivering them to the gods, so that the gods may heal their souls.
Is such a thing possible?
I have seen it with my own eyes. You will see it too, if you choose to remain. There is no greater calling than the one we have chosen. Neither words, nor wealth, nor battle will end this suffering. Only the gods. Will you give them that chance?
The knot in your stomach seems to loosen all at once, and the anxiety is replaced with something else entirely, something warm and soothing, and it is something you know you can never repay. As the vision fades, you start to become cognizant of the many odd looks amid in your direction. Your last response echoes in your mind. I will.
Gods keep you.
Oh, courier. Excuse me, I've been looking for you. You're the one who lifted the curse on Heritage Hill. My lady, who wishes to remain anonymous, has entrusted me with bringing you this pistol. It belongs to a dear friend of hers who is lost to the curse. For your part in reclaiming Heritage Hill, my lady wishes you to have it. Here, may it serve you well in battle. Thank you. Now I must be off. Farewell. You're the only one that uses that. Let's compare. just a minute. Say Ingram Spark. Very slow. 8 range. Interrupt 0.35. 0.05. Weakest. 9 to 13. Damage 26 to 35. So it's damage. Let's see. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I think it might be better. Replace it. Can we enchant it? Let's see. Give it fine enchantments. No secondary. Slang. We'll do people. Godlike, Orlin, human. Dwarfs, elves. Would that bring that up to? Oops. Let's see. Doubled the price. Should be pretty good now. Who are you? You're the messenger, right? Oh, reach out for your soul. Okay. And we are going to talk to Lady Webb. She's upstairs. Lady Webb will see you now. This woman clutches a thick stack of parchment with spindly, wrinkled fingers, their flesh stretched thin to near translucence with extreme age. A gossamer veil over pale blue veins, ink splotches and candle burns dot the strip her hands like a quilt patterned after some great, indescribable truth. She does not look up from her reading.
So, the messenger conveyed my summons. A miracle that would make the reincarnation of Aothis look like a child's cantrip, surely. It doesn't draw the most inspired minds, messaging. They failed me so many times of late, I nearly sent a cipher after you instead. So this is the Watcher who took over Cad Noir. Oh, don't look so surprised. It isn't an attractive expression. I wouldn't be where I am for long if I let details like that escape me.
Meager trick, given Cad Noir's fame.
Since then, as I understand it, you entered a quarantine district that is absolutely off-limits to all civilians and somehow managed to walk back out with your life. What could possibly have been on your mind to make you do such a thing?
Let's see. I'm investigating a strange group.
Strange does not begin to describe them. The practices of the Leaden Key defy all reason. You're not the only one with an interest in their recent activities. I've lost 4 ciphers this year alone trying to get someone inside their ranks. As it is, we only have our suspicions about who is in the group and what they intend, which I suppose means we have much in common with them. I asked you here because I wanted to know what your interest was in all of this. I thought perhaps we might help each other. Why are you looking for the Leaden Key?
I ran across a man in one of the ruins. It's important that I find him again. She closes her eyes and lids flicker, then her face goes still and her mouth parts, little more than a sliver, and her hand briefly drops open, spilling some of her parchment to the ground, pages wafting around her legs like the leaves of a dying tree. Her fleshy eyelids peel back and her gaze is immediately upon you.
The gods are cruel, I'm afraid. The man you seek is Theos Ix Arcanon, Grand Master of the Leaden Key. One of the most elusive and dangerous men Eora has ever known.
What can you tell me about Theos?
More than most, though very few would know so much as his name. And there is no way of knowing how much of what I've read is true. The Leaden Key dates back more than 2,000 years. If rumors are to be believed, Theos was the one who created it. What scraps of evidence exist suggest that he has died many times, only to be reborn each time exactly the same man. Awakened during adolescence with all the knowledge and experience of all his lifetimes. The plots he orchestrates sometimes take hundreds of years to bear fruit. Needless to say, this is not the natural order of things. But he is said to be one of Woodica's favored, and that old bat was never one to let rules get in the way of favoritism. That may also explain another supposed gift of his. His body is no boundary to his soul, and he is known to take possession of others, if their souls are weak enough. Often it is for elaborate deceptions, but sometimes he simply forces them to kill themselves. He is not known for his generous supply of pity. He is also not one to show himself in any but their most critical matters. If he has directly involved himself in whatever the group plots now, it may be your only chance to find him. And once you do find him, if you can find him, I would not hold my hopes too high if I were you. He is a driven, single-minded man. He will not have the slightest concern for your problems.
What do you want from me?
Keep me informed. The Leaden Key has been busy lately, and that is distressing news. I can only guess as to what they intend. You seem to have a knack for turning the stones they've crawled beneath. Keep turning them. Dunreed Row will not stop you. Whatever it is they're up to, figuring it out will be of great use to both of us. In your case, it will surely point you to Theos. In return, I will share our knowledge with you as we learn it, and provide you with what assistance I can.
Very well.
If you find your trail has run cold, come to me with whatever you have. There is much I may be able to do for you.
There's something I can tell you about the Leaden Key operations.
Well, let's hear it.
I Found Theos in Blackenbury Sanitarium impersonating a patient. He was trying to damage the public's opinion of animancy.
Forgive me, it is unlike Theos to leave witnesses. He must be furious. He did not aid you as you'd hoped, I take it? Well, take heart. With any luck, when he has finished his business, he will surely come and find you again, if only to kill you while you sleep. This news of yours makes sense, of course. To dabble in animancy is to puzzle over the secrets of the gods. This would not be the Leaden Key's first action against it. But if this is connected to their other activities, we may be in for something on a much larger scale. If we can learn more about their goals and methods, perhaps we can get the palace behind us. With Avar's support, we may be able to put a stop to this.
The Anguithian Tower in Heritage Hill contains an ancient machine that can control the flow of souls. The Leaden Key activated it.
This is troubling. That civilization seems to have known more about the mechanics of souls than anyone since. The Leaden Key was born in that period. It may be that Theos has full knowledge of their technology. The applications of this machine you speak of, I don't want to think about it. That isn't enough to take to the Duke, but we're close. Avar Wolfgren is a cautious man. He will want to know everything possible before being moved to action.
Progress is encouraging. I only hope that we are not too late. How do you know I seek Theos?
Because you have seen his face, and that makes it a simple matter for me to see it. You even happened to catch him in his ceremonial garb, it seems. Must have been a special occasion.
How do you know so much about that?
The same way I come by all my knowledge. Exhaustive research, spying, bribery, perhaps some less savory measures. Whatever the knowledge demands, I pay in full. There is nothing of greater value. Unfortunately, with Theos, there is also nothing more scarce. He has covered his tracks far too well. His manipulations of the course of history are lost to time now, though I believe they were many.
What else is there to know about the Leaden Key?
Precious little, I'm afraid. You may know much of it already. No one member knows the identity of more than a handful of other members. They are kept in the dark of missions they are not involved in, or sometimes of those they are involved in. They exist to hide secrets they themselves don't know. If you can imagine how gullible someone must be for that to appeal. Despite that, they are very good at what they do, owing much to their founder, who will take matters into his own hands when necessary. And he does not fail. Yes?
Tell me more about Dunrid Row.
All the things there are to know in this world, and you ask me about work. Deerwood is a rebel country. Conflict is in its blood. If you think a few guards posted in our cities keep chaos at bay, you are very new to town indeed. We are Deerwood's cipher investigators, of course. But what we really are is its last barrier against anarchy. People are more at ease when they believe they are watched over by someone more enlightened than they are. It pacifies them. So that is the image we foster. And we do try to be enlightened for their sake. The knowledge we gather here is Deerwood's standing army in many ways. We learn what's vital and we act on it while Deerwood sleeps, blissfully unaware of the terrifying truths all around them. I wish I could tell people the things I know sometimes, but the truth is I don't think many of them could bear it.
How did you come to be here?
Me? I started this place, in a different time, under a different Duke. I impressed the Duke with my research and my work ethic, and he became possessed of the notion that I would be ideal to lead a secret network of gifted investigators. I don't know how such an idea got into his head.
How old are you? Maybe shouldn't ask that question. I knew it.
I lost count ages ago. Such a strange thing to celebrate, getting closer to death. Oh, I've had my share of work done to prolong my existence, if that's what you're wondering. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not done here. There are things I still wish to learn. And I'll be the effigy if I let Bereth carry me off before I'm through. There was a time when I considered enlisting the theorems of Pondgrum to extend my life indefinitely. I found the thought of devouring my political enemies to sustain my own life greatly appealing. I must have gone soft with age.
Are you psychic?
If you are hoping I can look at your hand and tell you whom you should marry, you can just wipe that notion from your mind. I do not know what will happen tomorrow. That is what I pay spies for. Being a cipher is not unlike being a watcher. You notice more about what is already there. Many can hold an object and know where it's been, or peer into the thoughts of people around them. They can also sometimes affect those thoughts, but that would be unethical, of course. A tiny, talented few pick up so much about the world around them, they can get images of things to come, but these are fleeting and unreliable.
You said you don't know what will happen tomorrow.
Who said I was talented? I don't. Least not that I can trust. And with me, it's only ever about one thing anyway.
What's that?
A quiet day at home.
Is there a Lord Webb?
There was.
What happened to him?
He believed in dying with dignity. He was old-fashioned that way, my husband. We saw the world very differently, he and I. But he was good to me while he lasted. Yes?
Let's see. I think that's it.
Try your best not to die out there.
Thanks. We'll go down. So, what do we have now? Let's come back and inform her about activities whenever they come. Travel to Direford Village. Direford Village. There it is. Travel there. Any quests we can do in here while we're here? Siege of... Travel to the cliffs. No. Rogue Knight. Find the alien breastplate. Osric, a trainer at the Expedition Hall in Copper Lane, told me that his breastplate would be somewhere in the Crucible Keep and First Fires. He also mentioned that Helm, the keeper of the armory, one of the officers who had him expelled and is unlikely to return the heirloom willingly. Helm and Crucible Keep. Oops. Walk there and Where's Helm? Well, there's witnesses.
Hail and well met.
Young novative armor is recently shined, and his hair is clean and neatly combed. It's hard to believe he's ever seen battle, or that the scarred antique breastplate he wears could possibly be his. Does the name Osric sound familiar? He sniffs. If you got any self-respect you want to associate with him, or with any of his new friends at the Expedition Hall for that matter. Scamps and delinquents, the lot of them. He says your affidavit is a forgery. Just what would you know about that? It's perfectly convenient for him to cast aspersions. What with the pedigree in the Knights, he folds his arms. He blinks at you. It's a lie, of course. As should be perfectly obvious to someone as logical as you. Is that his breastplate you're wearing? It was. He looked down and admires it. It became property of the Crucible Knights when he was discharged. Now it's mine. And it's not for sale, if that's what you're wondering. Not every day you find armor that was used in the rebellion. What's the story between you two? Osric has always held some controversial opinions, but they went overlooked for the longest time because his family has such an extensive history of service in the Crucible Knights. He frowns and crosses his arms. He finally went too far. He had the gall to suggest that we had strayed too far from the roots that some of our officers were beginning to resemble Aider nobility. He rubbed the spot on his bracer with a silk handkerchief. He would have us all